one of the videos. Santos channel on it. So I was like, was that an actual conversation or was that just one of the videos? Yeah, so no.
This is Justin.
Justin, Scott.
Scott, nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Jim, nice to meet you guys. Yeah.
Okay, so coffee, anybody or anything?
All right. Well, we're with Scott and Jim today, and we're on top of the world. What? I guess when did your journey start? When did you start looking at?
I think our journey started. Our journey started with Hurricane One, which was Irma.
Yeah.
Irma. When we were down in Southwest Florida, had to evacuate with two parents in their 80s, a brother with special needs, a dog. So it started with that hurricane, us realizing that we've got to do something with mom and dad.
How long did you live in Bonita Springs?
Since I was 17, we moved there in 1983. It was a great, sleepy little beach town, great fishing.
Wow.
It was a great place for my younger adults.
Yeah.
And just for people that aren't familiar with where it's at, it's
Sure.
just south of Fort Myers. So
Correct.
in between Naples and Fort Myers.
Right. Finances with living in a very expensive area. It's very expensive. Everything's expensive. Everything that we do here. We look at the bill. We go out to eat. We look at the bill, and we're like, really? And, everything. You know.
And it's hard for me to say this, but looked at too that maybe it's a little too warm here. We really would like to have a little more of the four seasons. When we came up here in February to look, it was 48 degrees. So to me, I said to Scott, I didn't really want to go as far up to Jacksonville. I said, Ocala sounds great because it looks like we'll get chilly here and maybe get cold in the winter, but I think it's time for that change. And then the neat thing was we came here in February just kind of to scope out the area.
Right.
And we looked around, and one of the things I said to Scott when we arrived here on the top of the world at night was we couldn't believe how quiet it was. I mean, we had windows open because it was in February. It was still cold, but we opened the windows just to see. But it was amazing that we couldn't hear any noise, and also work in the yard. Even though it's one of those things that everything's being taken care of by on top of the world, but you still have that little bit of situation where if you want to work on plants or just
You can work on it if you want to. You don't have to.
It's that feeling is nice.
Did you consider the villages? Just curious.
We consider the villages.
Because you like the larger communities. That's why I was
but it's
wondering.
not gated, right?
That's true. It's not.
It's not gated, and it just seemed a little bit too.
Busy.
It seemed
Over the top.
It seemed over the top and busy and party, and that's.
Yeah, we like quiet. Like when we go on vacation, we like being able to just plop in one place and just really enjoy the area. And one of the things I think for us, it was the quiet and the solitude. And I mean, it's nice having those amenities and things that they have probably at the villages, but I also think that what they have here is perfect for what we want.
And they've got that here if you want that.
I'm very impressed with the people, just in general. I mean, I've not seen anyone that looks down on the road when you walk by and say hi or good morning. Everybody is perky and upbeat.
This is kind of what we're always talking about too, but there's sort of a culture that develops in these communities that a lot of people come down to Florida and retire and they don't necessarily pick a 55 plus community. And it's not for everybody, but that's what you're buying into is that the communal aspect, the culture that develops in the community.
Sure, I think that's really, really a huge reason why we wound in this kind of a scenario. First of all, we love On Top of the World. Okay, it's great because it's large. I like the fact that it's large because it's got a lot of different kinds of communities and different kinds of lifestyles for people. Whatever really you're into, there's going to be something here for you. There's so many. We're into the fitness and the yoga stuff. Okay, so we go to yoga 3 times a week. We've had 5 different teachers and never have left a class and said, "Oh, I'm not going back to that one's class," because they're all great for different kinds of reasons. They have 600 members in the club that we just joined for pickleball. There's a wood shop, and then they have the RC planes and the car track, the archery. Yes. And so there's just tons and tons of activities. People are super friendly, super nice. Very
And one of the other things I didn't notice, I'm a runner, so I noticed like when I'm out on the road, there's just so much courtesy going on as far as where we were in Bonita Springs. I mean, a lot of times if you weren't on the sidewalk, you were really taking a risk when you were running because people weren't paying attention. But with that extra lane that they have of the golf carts, people are really, really good about just moving over or going back into the road. So I feel really safe out there.
Oh, that's important.
And you see a lot of people walking.
We talk to a lot of people that have like interesting family dynamics like you guys have.
Sure.
If you want to just kind of give
Sure.
people an idea of that situation, and then let's talk about maybe some communities you were looking at.
Sure. So we needed to do something with financially with finding a place where my brother could afford to live after my mom passes. Which is going to be a long, long time away. She's going to see this, so yes, we know, Mom, you're going to be here for a long time. So it needed to be, affordability was a really important factor. So we sold 3 places in Southwest Florida in Bonita Springs. We had Mom's place, we had our place, and then we had a rental property there that we rented to Jim's sister Cheryl. Purchased 3 here. Mom is just across the street from us, so I can see her front porch from my living room window, and so super close. We walk our dog, 3 times a day, and do grocery shopping, and it's just super nice being that close. It would be very difficult for all of us to be under the same roof. So now all of us are settled 5-6 months later. It was a big move. It was really hard. And so folks that are going through that move, we all know moving is pretty miserable. There's no way around it.
It's one of the top 5 stresses.
It's pretty awful. And then we had 3 of those that we had to kind of deal with. But you're going to get through it. And then you look back and you're like, yeah, that was really, really difficult. It was really awful. But really glad we did it. The nature and the paddling and all that stuff
So you
is
guys
great.
go to Rainbow River?
We've been to Rainbow River to the state park. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. But there's some other really good stuff around here. We went over to Ormond Beach, which is directly across the state.
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, and of that hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes of it is through the
gorgeous.
forest.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful ride. And then we
Yeah.
went up to the opposite direction. We went up to Cedar Key, and that's probably under an hour. And then what's going on in Ocala is really cool. The downtown is
Very nice.
really
I
neat.
have to say, I've never been downtown Ocala.
Oh, you need to go.
Yeah.
And they have on Fridays, the first Fridays, they do an art walk and it's like juried. So they have wine and they have art and you can walk around and do things. There's always things going on in Ocala. People say, oh, it's slow Ocala. Well, if you want that part, it can be, but there's also really cool stuff. We've got have you been to the museum yet? The Appleton Museum?
Yes.
We went there
Oh
a
my
couple
God,
weeks
what a
ago.
great art museum. Fantastic. Really amazing.
Very
It seems
impressive.
like you guys have really taken advantage and done some.
We've started to,
Well,
but we had to
Well,
force
it
ourselves.
was
We need to do it.
interesting because when Scott was talking to this woman, Elaine, she's in her early 90s?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
she's,
it's so
and
sweet.
she's walking every day. You see her walking the street and also at night. And she's out there, she's religious about it. And she looks great, in great shape. And she's a big person about art and culture. So her and Scott got on the conversation. She said, you need to go to Appleton. You really need to go.
Introduce Robin. So Robin's one of the fabulous agents.
She did an
that we
amazing
connected
job with
you
us.
guys.
And Robin went above and beyond. And one of the things
Oh,
that
thank you.
we did look at a property that my sister was determined that she wanted to be on the same street as us. And we actually looked at a property, we made an offer. And then when we had the inspectors come, it just wasn't going to work for us. So
Lots of texting, lots of phone calls, and great communication. And Alice, the closing coordinator, was phenomenal as well. Like
Alice is the best.
she's just right on top of things, and yeah. So and that was all. That
Did
was
you
all really
actually
great.
visit other communities,
Um,
or you kind of narrowed it down from afar? And
Yeah,
videos and
we,
stuff?
we narrowed it down from afar with the videos and stuff, and and online.
Scott was on the computer probably 24/7 for a good 2 months. But then when we got to On Top of the World, it seemed to stick more. And then what was happening was he was just sharing the videos with his mom. Now his mom, as mentioned, is 87. She's on YouTube checking it out on her own after Scott was
Yeah.
showing how to
That's
work it.
cool.
And she just fell in love with the place. And so she just said, I can see myself living there. And that to us was like the biggest thing, because she had just lost her husband 2 years ago. And she needs that clean break. And
Yes.
so for her to be able to do that, but she wanted to make sure it was an environment that she really, really wants. And I think On Top of the World had so many things that she liked. I mean, just the trees.
The proximity here to everything that you need outside of the gate. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's probably a 15-minute walk to the Publix grocery store. I usually take my bike, but yeah, so that's really convenient for mom. She likes to go to Walmart or go to the dollar store, and that kind of stuff, and it's all pretty close.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And also what's really helped too is my sister's, when she came to stay here with us, she moved here back in June. She came full time with us. She really started to build a good relationship with Scott's mom. So it's like for both of them, it worked out really well. So it was like they could both go to the stores together, and it was really helping us because it was getting Scott's mom out, which was really good, and it was also helping my sister too to venture out a little bit more as opposed to having to do it by herself. So
And there's a hat for every head. I say that all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
I also say everything flops for the right reason.
Yeah.
And so you're
100%.
Cheryl living down a mile from here worked out perfectly for
Yeah.
some reason. You may not even know right now
Right.
why exactly. but
Right.
There's a good reason for that.
100%. Things always work out, and
I was just telling these two in the car on the way up, I'm not super smart or wise or anything, but there is something to, with age comes wisdom.
sure.
Because you learn not to get all stressed out about
Yes.
a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Because it'll work around to the right.
And I think that the neat thing that we noticed when we came here, were so many homes that we easily could have said, we'll take this one. So it wasn't like, okay, this is the only house
Right.
that
Right.
we have to choose from. And it was just, and each time we went to something, we would say, okay, we like this, but let's check something else and then we got everything together that seemed to be exactly the way we wanted. And
We also looked at a couple of areas up in the Jacksonville area.
Okay.
One in the Yulee area. I forget what the name of that one is. One of them is Wildlight. One of
Yes.
them is I forget what the other one. Another one is a big master community up there. And there was also everything was brand new, so it was going to be a new build situation, and that adds a whole nother layer of stress and
That's timing.
and timing, and
It is.
so we knew we didn't want to do new build.
we kind of like the older, not that new isn't great, but we also said to ourselves, new is expensive. And
Yes.
do we want to go that route?
The
Well,
older places have some character.
Yeah.
They have character, and they're larger. Some people want everything
Of course.
brand new, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that,
Hat
that's
for every
great.
head.
Hat for every head.
So if you guys could go back in time when you started your journey, are there any mistakes or suggestions for people that are starting their journeys?
I think for me, the biggest thing is to say to myself, this is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And also, too, I can't be living because waiting to do the next thing. I have to still be living where I currently am. So for packing things up, putting things away that I know I'm not going to be using and save till winter time, and not getting stressed about, this has to be done tomorrow. Because I was finding it challenging to sleep at night. I'd be waking up in the middle of the night thinking all these thoughts would go with I need to.
Oh, that is so common. I'm so
Yes.
glad you brought that up.
It's awful because you're constantly talking in your head, and there's nothing really you can do about this anyways. So I think for me, it would have been more of relax a little bit. I know it's going to happen. Scott did a really good job with the timeline. Create a timeline, knowing that this is where I'm kind of going. But if I fall off this timeline, I'm not going to worry about it.
My big thing would be financial. Okay, especially in a situation like ours where we were going from a more expensive to a less expensive. Just pay to do. Get the appliances, get the new appliances, do the work that you want to do, get it done. It might cost a few extra dollars at the beginning, but it just, and don't think you have to do it yourself. I'm too old to be doing lots of the projects. I'm going to pay somebody to do it, and that's okay. And it'll be done right. And
Once the dust settles, it'll all be worth it.
absolutely.
Yeah. And especially when you embark on something like that, it almost feels like it's not going to end.
Yeah,
Things
it's
can
really.
start to add up.
Oh, and we said those exact words many times.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. This is nonstop.
Yeah.
But clearing out the houses. It's like you spend all day doing it. And you look around. It's like it's still full of stuff.
Yeah.
And
And I also thought what we did, which is really good and helpful, and I think was we just said during the month we're gonna go away. We're just gonna.
Oh, we had to go
We're gonna get away just so we can forget about this because we actually left. We went on a cruise, and what was great about it is it gave us a time to just like let go of all of this and just come. When we came back, we were re-energized and we were able to start again. So I think that was a good thing that I think we did, and I would encourage. If I was to do it over again, I would definitely add more in there because, like I said, if we hadn't watched your videos, I doubted we would have made the effort to come up and look here.
No, that's awesome.
So
That's very cool.
You did a really good job with that.
Thank you. Well, I think this was fantastic. I don't if you guys have anything extra to add, but that was amazing.
I'll mention because I know some people are concerned about an airport from here. We like to travel, and we were spoiled in Southwest Florida. It's a great airport. It was 25 minutes away. Here, it's an hour and 15, hour and a half to either Orlando or to Tampa. However, you can fly anywhere direct from Orlando. So you don't have to worry about a layover with that. If you want something closer, the Gainesville Airport is, 40 minutes away? It's about.
And they have Delta and American.
Delta and American, and from there you can catch a flight to Atlanta or to Charlotte, and from either of those airports you can go anywhere you want in the world. So we found that we're pretty okay with
That's
the
a very
airport,
good thing to say.
with the
because
airport
that-
situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well,
All right.
that was awesome.
Yes,
That
that was fantastic. If you guys want to get connected with someone like Robin on the team, visit explore55plus.com. You can always call us or email us. And I think that's it.
And that's it. And thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, hopefully there's some good takeaways out of this.